Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Hello and welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban, and we thank you for joining us as you do each and every day throughout your work week on Comcast Channel 15 and on AT&T Channel 99. In addition, you can find us on our website on civiccentertv.com, on our Facebook page at Civic Center TV 15, as well as on our YouTube at Civic Center TV for our live programming and more information on all of our other original programming all throughout the community every single week. civiccentertv.com, the place to go for that. In addition, you can find us on the radio throughout our local area on 89.3 Lakes FM, broadcasting live, simulcasting all of our live programming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all throughout the local area, 89.3 Lakes FM. Then, Diane, in the community today, going to be a little bit of a similar start to yesterday, very sunny, but then later on, both today and then as we go through the rest of the week, we're going to start to see those clouds and that rain come back in.
That is true, Tyler. So today we're starting off with a very beautiful sunny morning, and it will continue to be sunny throughout the day. We are experiencing higher temperatures for today, highs of 73 and lows of 48 degrees. Mostly sunny skies again throughout the day, but the clouds will eventually linger again as we go into the evening, creating a more cloudy evening. And it will continue to be the same until Wednesday. We have very cloudy morning on Wednesday and some showers that are going to start at around 2 p.m. throughout the afternoon, and it will stop at the evening, but clouds will remain in our skies. Highs of 62 and 58 for tomorrow, and Thursday temperatures will go back up to 71 degrees as for highs and lows of 62 degrees, but with very limited sunshine, cloudy morning. And so far we will keep you posted about whether it's going to rain on Thursday or not, but temperatures are going to continue to rise and fluctuate. Some sun and a lot of clouds throughout the coming 3 days.
Yeah, it's going to be unseasonably warm throughout the rest of this week. Really, it's about Saturday that we see that transition back to more of fall-like temperatures, with Thursday and Friday again being in the 70s, much like today, and then Saturday going back down into the high 50s, with Sunday and early next week projected to be in the high 40s here in the Greater West Bloomfield community. Plenty making headlines all across our local area on this Tuesday in Greater West Bloomfield. The West Bloomfield School District Board of Education at their meeting last evening recognized a longtime educator and one of its youngest students for their accomplishments in the West Bloomfield School District. We'll tell you about those two individuals in just a little bit. In New York City, a West Bloomfield born and raised actor is starring in a Broadway play that's directed and co-starring a couple of sitcom stars from NBC from back in the 90s. We'll tell you about that play and about the actor from right here in our local area coming up in just a short while. In a little bit, we'll tell you about also a home fire that happened overnight, a rather large fire in West Bloomfield Township that had burned a several thousand square foot home and left 5 people evacuating their home, 4 of which did get out safely, and the other who sustained injuries. We'll talk to Byron Turnquist, West Bloomfield Fire Marshal, about the blaze at around in around 10 minutes or so on the program. Over the weekend, Orchard Lake Village had debuted their revamped facilities at their City Hall complex, inviting the community in for a ribbon cutting and a tour of their new DPW, police, and City Hall facilities. We'll take you on a tour and show you all the fun festivities that happened at their City Hall debut over the weekend. West Bloomfield High School's band took a trip to Ann Arbor to visit the University of Michigan and their band program, experiencing some concerts. We'll tell you about what they got to see and who they got to meet up with. Some very familiar faces from right here in our community. Later on, a local restaurateur has opened up 2 new restaurants in the same location on Orchard Lake Road. Brad Cousins will join us to talk about live bait and gourmand on today's program. Plus, West Bloomfield students and their Lego club have their work displayed all month long at the West Bloomfield Township Main Library. Dayan Chaaban will tell you about those pieces in just a little bit. And if you're looking for extra work and want help in the community during the winter season, the Road Commission for Oakland County is seeking part-time workers and laborers for the winter season. We'll tell you how you can apply for those jobs and what they're looking for in just a little while. Plenty more of your stories from your hometown on your community media all day long here on The Splash Live. Stay with us. The Splash Live returns after this break.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy, and if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Watch West Bloomfield Lakers football all season long on 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. Kieft and Matt Catoni each week for live, in-depth, exclusive coverage before, during, and after the big game. It's your local high school football team on the road and in your backyard on your home for West Bloomfield Laker football, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Follow us on Twitter at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban, and thank you for joining us on today's program all across the local area on TV, on the radio, on the web, and always with you on civiccentertv.com on demand. Last night at the West Bloomfield School District's Board of Education meeting, they honored a couple of individuals within the school district, an educator who received their STAR Certificate award from the school district, Denise Kelly. Over 20 years in education with the West Bloomfield School District. She spent most of those years as an educator at West Bloomfield High School, now is serving as an administrative assistant at Oakland Early College, helping students who have advanced beyond their high school diploma and are working on an associate's degree in a one-year-long college program in connection with the school district and Oakland Community College. She's now working there helping students at the next level of education. She's in the bottom left-hand corner, the third from the left. You'll see in the black jacket in the front. That is Denise Kelly, over 20 years teaching in the school district, and got her due recognition, or really long overdue recognition from the Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Danya Bazzi at last night's meeting. In addition, the young lady in the front holding those two bouquets of flowers is Mariah Galloway, a familiar face here on the Splash Live. We talked about her a few weeks ago as she's received the Superintendent's Excellence Award last night for her recognition nationally and locally, and her heroism locally earlier on this year had saved her grandmother's life as she was dropping her off at school and had gotten out of her vehicle and inadvertently had not placed the vehicle in park, but rather in neutral, and had actually the car start running over her leg. Mariah jumped into action, turned the keys and pulled him out of the vehicle, which automatically stopped that vehicle from continuing forward and helped save her grandmother from even further damage at that point, and was recognized for her efforts both locally in the media on 2, 4, and 7 and on the radio, as well as here on the Splash Live, and then also even at the national level being featured recently in People magazine, and got her due recognition from the school district and a lot of kind words toward both Denise and Mariah at last night's meeting. You can view that live on demand this afternoon on CivicCenterTV.com. But Dayan, a couple of great individuals being recognized from their work both within and outside the West Bloomfield School District.
A couple of great individuals from completely different generations, Tyler. It's so beautiful to see this very young lady, Maria, and being recognized for her heroism, because it will, trust me, it will entice her to do better in the future. She deserves it. She saved her grandmother's life, and she deserves this recognition, as well as our educators. They all deserve all these kind words for dedicating their time and efforts to shaping our students' values, not just the education, Tyler. It's also shaping their values and making them have the best possible future ever.
Yeah, we've been recognizing principals alongside the school district all month long, administrators, both principals and assistant principals, and others in the administrative offices play a key role also, so that includes Denise Kelly from Oakland Early College. And congratulations both to her and Mariah Galloway for their recognition by the School District Board of Education at Monday's school board meeting for the month of October. Again, you can view that on demand and hear all the kind words from the board and from Dr. Bazzi on CivicCenterTV.com this afternoon, or watch the meetings replaying periodically on WBTV, on Comcast Channel 19, and on AT&T Channel 99 in their Public Access Education and Government Channels Guide. If you search for the West Bloomfield School District in that will be their channel, WBTV, and you can view that meeting replaying all throughout the week, all throughout the month, and going forward until their next school board meeting in November. Across the West Bloomfield area and really across the country in New York City, a West Bloomfield born and raised actor is now making her mark on the big stage on Broadway. Dana Steingold grew up in West Bloomfield and is now starring in The Cottage at the Hayes Theater in New York City on Broadway. She's co-starring along with a familiar face you may see on the right side of this image on CivicCenterTV.com. That is Eric McCormick from the NBC sitcom Will and Grace, is co-starring alongside Dana on the big stage. And this play is being directed by a very familiar face, the man behind George Costanza on Seinfeld, a very talented stage actor himself, in Jason Alexander directing this play. Now, Dana began her performing at a very young age in community theater and tap dancing, and advanced that all throughout her young life, eventually moving to New York at 18 to attend NYU's Tisch School of Arts, and now has turned that into a prolific Broadway career, co-starring alongside Eric McCormick and many other talented thespians on the stage at the Hayes Theater in New York City for The Cottage. And here you're seeing Dana in her headshot on CivicCenterTV.com. Great to see Dayan, another actor from our local area, moving on to the next level and doing some big things, this time in New York City.
Tyler, this is pretty amazing to see all these talents that grew up here and came out of West Bloomfield shine and flourish in different cities nationwide, and sometimes internationally. We have seen someone who have done international, whether it was the Kilt, I don't know if anybody remembers that, but we did mention someone who was internationally also winning awards. It's always great and very heartwarming to see. It makes us so proud of all these wonderful talents that we have here, whether it's in sports or in acting or in all different type of fields. So great for her. We're very happy for her, and we hope to see these wonderful Broadway plays with her soon.
Yeah, we hope to see even more good news from our actors in Hollywood and in New York City. Of course, in this case, recognizing Dana Steingold for her work on the stage, but plenty of other actors, even out of West Bloomfield High School, have gone on to big things in Hollywood and on Broadway. And congratulations to Dana on starring in The Cottage at the Hayes Theater in New York City. We'll take a break on The Splash Live. On the other side, our top story today in West Bloomfield, a home fire broke out overnight and in the area of Commerce Road and Orchard Lake. All 5 people were able to get out of the fire safely, although one did sustain some injuries. We'll talk to Byron Turnquist, the fire marshal in West Bloomfield, about their response to the fire, where they're at currently in responding to that fire, and what lessons can be learned from the community about this home fire early in the morning today on Tuesday. Coming up next on The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a break and tune in to The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Join Tyler Kieft and Dayan Chaaban as they go through headlines, events, and update you on the day-to-day in Oakland County. Catch us live weekdays 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Watch us on demand at civiccentertv.com. Or watch us on TV at Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T at Channel 99. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media 5 days a week, all throughout your work week on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. Early this morning in West Bloomfield, a major fire broke out at a large home on Commerce Road between Cass Lake and Orchard Lake in West Bloomfield Township. Shortly after a call was made about the fire, the West Bloomfield Fire Department had responded with officials from all 6 of the fire stations in West Bloomfield responding to the fire. It was eventually dealt with, and roads nearby, which were closed overnight, did reopen. About this time, the fire department still looking into the origin and the cause of this fire that happened early on this morning. Joining us now is the Fire Marshal for West Bloomfield Township, Byron Turnquist, on The Splash Live. Byron, what can you tell us about this fire overnight? It happened very early in the morning, right around 1:30 a.m., and it's a rather large home that ended up catching fire, and a lot of it actually did end up going ablaze in this case.
Yeah, you gave a great summary there, Tyler. Thank you for that. About 1:30 this morning, crews from all 6 of our fire stations in West Bloomfield responded. When they arrived on scene, they met with one of the homeowners who sustained some burns, and he was quickly transported to an area hospital. Other crews started to immediately get a water supply and start to attack the fire. There was a large amount of fire in the home upon our arrival. And it took us most of the morning to get the fire extinguished. And
that kind of draws back to something we've talked about in the past with these fires, where even if it's a relatively small fire, when you notice it in your home, if you're not able to get that fire extinguished by using a fire extinguisher or other safe means, just how quickly those fires can spread. So what can people take from this story in particular, with a rather large home catching fire early this morning, quickly having a large sum of that home going ablaze?
Well, one of the first lines of defense, and again, we don't know exactly where this fire started or what happened yet, but just generally speaking, being fire safe in your home at all times. Don't leave candles burning in rooms that you're not in. Don't cook and leave the kitchen. Even though you think it may be just for a minute or two to answer a phone call or an email, stay in the kitchen. Don't leave the kitchen while you're cooking. A lot of fires will happen in the kitchen while you're cooking, and especially when it's unattended. Next huge thing, one of the most important things, is to make sure that you have working smoke alarms throughout your home. Any smoke alarm that's more than 10 years old should be replaced. You want a working smoke alarm because that's that first line of defense that's going to tell you that there's a problem in the home. It's important. Smoke alarms should be installed in every bedroom, outside of every sleeping area and on every level of your home. And that gives you that early warning and gives you time to help get you out of the house safely. If it's not a real small fire that you can handle with an extinguisher, get out, get your whole family out. The sooner you get out of the home, call 911, get us on the way, and we'll deal with that problem. Homes can be replaced. Your belongings can be replaced, but your loved ones can't. And it's just so important to have working smoke alarms. When they go off, have an escape plan, know how to get out of your house, and safely get out and call 911 and let us come and do our job.
And you mentioned paying attention to whether it is you're cooking in your kitchen, or during this time of the year, people may be using space heaters to provide some extra warmth in certain areas of their home. And when they walk away, even for a couple of minutes, that can quickly turn a pretty simple decision into quite a disastrous decision. Are we seeing that as kind of a rising problem in our communities or in other communities nearby, that these fires kind of are popping up in homes are being caused by more distracted environments in our homes each and every day?
I don't know if it's a rising problem or it's just been a constant problem. Whether it was phone calls or a TV show to now where we're distracted with our cell phones and email. I think the distractions have changed, but the people just thinking, oh, I'm going to go, switch a load of laundry and I'm just going to be gone for a minute. Well, sometimes you get distracted from that and it takes longer to get back. And it's just real important to have those working smoke alarms, be fire safe as much as possible every day of the year, and develop a home escape plan and practice that with your family members so that they know what to do when those smoke alarms go off.
Byron, in the early morning hours shortly after this fire had erupted and the response was made to it, roads were closed in the nearby area. Commerce Road eastbound from Hiller and westbound from Indian Trail was closed and then eventually reopened right around 6:45 this morning. About 6:42, according to Nixle alerts, was when those roads were reopened. Should people in West Bloomfield expect any further delays or closures in the area of this fire?
Nope. We connected to a fire hydrant out on on Commerce Road to fight the fire, and that hose line has been cleared from the roadway, so the road's open, and there should be no delays in the area.
An investigation is underway into this fire to determine the origin of it. Again, it was responded to on Commerce Road and near Orchard Lake Road at about 1:30 a.m. today, a home fire. And Byron, ultimately 4 people were able to escape from this fire without injuries. One that did sustain injuries, as you said, is at an area hospital at this time in response to those injuries. And what can that teach us about putting forth these plans? We've talked about this a lot earlier on in this month at the fire department open house, but having those plans and practicing those plans, knowing how to get out of your home, can play a critical role. As we're able to get 4 out of 5 people out, and one with some burn injuries, according to WWJ's report at this time, and that's a very good turnout in this scenario, getting all 5 people out alive.
Yeah, it is, and again. That early detection gives you the time to safely escape your home. Practicing those plans, at all times of the day. It's so easy for little kids to, find the front door. You need to have more than one way out of the house. So if that front door is blocked, where else can you go to get out of the house? Practice it at night when it's dark. So it's just, you change that environment so you get good at it and you know how to get out of your home, and think of different ways. And it's not just your home. It's when you go into a dining establishment, there's exit signs posted over doors to let people know that aren't as familiar with the building, the other ways out in case of a fire. It's important to plan and be prepared and get all of that early notification that you can from a smoke alarm.
WBTownship.org for more information and how to get in contact with the fire department to get information on how to refine your plans and other fire safety tips all year round. Byron, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Have a good day, Tyler.
Appreciate it. Byron Turnquist, Fire Marshal in West Bloomfield Township, joining us to talk about the fire that went ablaze this morning early in West Bloomfield Township, and currently at this time the fire has been extinguished, roads have been cleared, and all 5 individuals that were in that home at that time have been safely evacuated, with one sustaining some injuries and at a local hospital, and our thoughts are with them at this time. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, residents in the local area got a chance to take a look at the revamped Orchard Lake City Hall over the weekend. Plus, the West Bloomfield High School band program took their talents to Ann Arbor to explore the Michigan band's performances and meet up with some local alums that are now in the band program at Michigan. Stay with us. More of your stories from your hometown on your community media up next on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Watch West Bloomfield Lakers football all season long on 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. Join Tyler Kieft and Matt Catoni each week for live, in-depth, and exclusive coverage before, during, and after the big game. Your local high school football team on the road and in your backyard on your home for West Bloomfield Laker football, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at civiccentertv.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media 5 days a week on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. You can always follow along with us on our Facebook page at Civic Center TV 15 and watch all of our programming on demand and all of our live programming right immediately after the show on our YouTube page at Civic Center TV. All that information plus our on-demand videos cataloged on civiccentertv.com. Over the weekend, a very exciting event at Orchard Lake City Hall as their revamped facilities officially reopened to the community, and they had a nice ribbon cutting ceremony as well. They have revamped their City Hall facility as well as added on the new facilities for their Department of Public Works as well as their police department. Here you see in the middle, Norm Finkelstein, the mayor of the city of Orchard Lake, as well as many members of their city council, officially cutting the ribbon to reopen their new facilities and start a new era in the city of Orchard Lake Village, a city hall facility they came into ownership of back in 1929. You see Duane Sonneville and Carol Finkelstein on either side, and there Carol, the school board member and wife of the mayor, Norm Finkelstein, Duane Sonneville on the far right, a city council member, and a couple police officers from the city of Orchard Lake Village, including David McNeely on the left. Plus, plenty of people got a tour of the facilities. Here they are in some of the new DPW facilities and police department facilities at Orchard Lake City Hall, and plenty of other fun all around the City Hall complex. Calvin, we can advance forward a few pictures. We actually have former Mayor Bruce McIntyre. That's Norm Finkelstein, their current mayor, making the speech. Later on, we heard from, there he is, Bruce McIntyre, the former mayor of the city of Orchard Lake Village and a city council member as well. And what he's holding up there is a truly historic document from the city of Orchard Lake Village. That is the original deed to the City Hall complex received by the city of Orchard Lake Village from the Ward family back in 1929. And what's even a bigger fun fact, arguably, about that document is that they received that original deed to their city hall the day before the stock market crash back in 1929. So look forward at some new history in Orchard Lake Village, Dayan, while also taking a look back at some big historic moments, both for the city and for the country on their opening day.
It's great that they renovated this building that has such a massive cultural symbol. It's a symbolic and cultural heritage in the city, and it's part of its aesthetic and memory. So it's a great way to renovate and add to that building, Tyler. Also, I must say, there's a lot of pretty faces. There's a lot of happy, faces. They are so happy to renovate this building, this wonderful city hall, which is, Tyler, city halls usually represent the cultural engagement centers. It's where everybody meets and everybody should be familiar with. So it's a great way. Congratulations to them for this wonderful renovation and for continuing to renovate this very old, again, I say, symbolic building to this particular community, Orchard Lake.
Yeah, they have a beautiful new City Hall facility there, and as you mentioned, a lot of history there. Not just the deed that we saw from Bruce McIntyre holding up in that image, but also right next door in that same complex is the Orchard Lake Museum, which currently houses the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. That was actually the original City Hall for the city of Orchard Lake Village before the new facility was originally built. It's now been renovated inside, been modernized. The police department facilities are expanded and modernized for the needs of a modern day police department. And same with the DPW facilities. We had a chance a few years ago, just before this bond was passed, that ultimately funded the renovation of these facilities. Had a chance to talk with Jerry McCallum, the Director of City Services in Orchard Lake, about the necessity for these newly renovated facilities, and especially for DPW, having places where they can make brine that they use for the roads during the winter season, and that they can maintain their vehicles and store their vehicles that they use typically more in the warm seasons indoors instead of outdoors, where they degrade faster with the weathering over the course of the months. It's a very important renovation they've made over there, and hopefully going to make a big impact on the city of Orchard Lake Village for a number of years to come. Across our local area in Ann Arbor, the West Bloomfield High School band program took a tour earlier on this week, attending the University of Michigan's Band-O-Rama concert in Ann Arbor at the Hill Auditorium. They got a chance to see the U of M concert band, symphony band, and marching band all perform at this concert. In addition, the current marching band and other band student members at West Bloomfield High School got to meet up with recent Laker alum and current Michigan band members Arthur Yang and Kylie Hamala also while at the University of Michigan. And Dayan, another great opportunity for our band program at West Bloomfield High School to take their talents on the road to some of our collegiate band facilities and get a chance to not only meet up and learn more from these collegiate band students and these programs, explore their opportunities at the next level, but also broaden their horizons and meet some other band students from throughout the state of Michigan.
That is true, Tyler. It truly motivates these wonderful young artists, I must say, in our school district. It inspires them to do more and to explore different paths, whether they want to compete with the music and how they're going to do it and how these other people are doing it. As I recall, is it true that there was a couple of West Bloomfield school alums in U of M?
Yes, they had a couple of alums with them that did meet up with them at that particular event at Band-O-Rama, Arthur Yang and Kylie Hamala.
That's also, Tyler, very inspiring to know that one of their own former students that were there with them in these school, that were walking these school hallways, that they were doing the same thing, they were in the same band. To see them succeed is such an inspiration for all these young students that visited the U of M earlier this week.
Yeah, a great showing out there, and good to see our band students getting even more opportunities. We've seen in the past years that's really had a big impact in the choir program, getting out to these different events, performing throughout the local area. Now we're seeing a lot more of that happening with the band also. Not that didn't happen in the past in the West Bloomfield High School band program, but Jesse Sachs, who's their band director at West Bloomfield High School, has really been making a bigger push of late to get the band out into the local area, meeting new people, getting to explore options at the next level too. We've seen them go to Toledo and go to Central Michigan also recently, and now the University of Michigan as well. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, exciting new restaurants moving in. Same ownership, same building, and right in the heart of the prettiest little city in the state of Michigan on Orchard Lake Road. Brad Cousins will join us after the break to talk about his new restaurants, Live Bait and Guma, on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at civiccentertv.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. You can also join us online on civiccentertv.com. Find our full show every single day on demand and see all the times that we'll be broadcasting live with your latest news and updates from throughout the community on the Splash Live every single day. Right on our homepage, civiccentertv.com. Joining us now is a local restaurateur, Brad Cousins, who over the past several months has been developing a new restaurant on Orchard Lake Road. We've heard about this. We've seen some pictures of this new restaurant moving in, and turns out that actually is two restaurants in the same location at the old Pepino's location on Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake. Brad, thank you for being with us today.
Tyler, I'm well. How are you? Happy to be here.
I'm doing great and glad to talk to you about Live Bait and Guma, two restaurants moving into over 6,000 square feet of space in the old Pepino's location. Let's start from the beginning with this because there's so much that goes into these two restaurants. It's a really interesting story how this all came together, but you're in such a large space. You have experience in the past developing restaurants all across the nation and now coming back home. You have, of course, El Camino in Kegel Harbor as well. But what was the inspiration behind these two restaurants in that particular location in Sylvan Lake?
Well, I live in Sylvan Lake, and I grew up in the area, went to St. Mary's and Orchard Lake right down the road. So I've got a soft spot for this location in my heart. And I don't know. I think it's overlooked. We're dead center of Oakland County. 15 minutes from Birmingham, 17 minutes from Clarkston, 20 minutes from Rochester. It's such an ideal location, and I think it's underserviced. And there's so many other wonderful restaurants and business owners in the area that I get along with so well. And I'm convincing everybody that we're all in business together and that we need to raise the tide, which will raise all ships and get people to really come to our area. And Pepino's was so successful, they could have been in business forever. And they just chose to retire. So it wasn't a question of them going out of business. It was a question of them retiring. And it turns out that my landlord at El Camino that I've had for about 5 or 6 years down the street is the same landlord as this location. So he kept after me, trying to get me to put something in there. I went and looked at it and thought, geez, this is too much space for me to handle. I like to do restaurants that are 100 seats or less. And then one day I was having lunch with a buddy of mine, and he was pestering me to do a seafood place, which I've always wanted to do. And another friend of mine was pestering me the night before about doing a pizza joint, and a light bulb just kind of went off. And I thought, geez, I'll go back and take a look at it, see if I can't split that space into two and get something going. And then we were kind of off to the races.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting, too, to have these two restaurants in that spot. It is a great spot right off of Orchard Lake Road, and especially as the construction across Orchard Lake Road is coming to a close, and this restaurant is now open and open for business in the community too. It gives such great opportunities for a variety of different food options on Orchard Lake Road all throughout the majority of our local communities, especially in the Tri-City. So let's talk about these two restaurants, David. Tell us first about Guma. We know it's a pizza restaurant in particular, but also features some other Italian favorites as well.
Yeah, it's I had a custom brick tile pizza oven made in California and shipped about 6,000 pounds. I actually had to take the whole front of the building off to get it in. A good friend of mine, luckily, Rob Davis owns Club Royale, and so he's a big boat guy. And yeah, there it is. And he sent over a friend of his to Skytrack that sucker in. So a lot of our food for Guma goes through that pizza oven. It's wood and gas assist. So we do New Haven style pizza. One of my chefs, Jesse, spent a lot of time in Chicago, different restaurants there, worked for Stephanie Izzard from Girl and the Goat and Top Chef fame. He wrote our dough recipe. And then we've got my good buddy George from Ellen's across the street. He takes our recipe and he makes our dough every day. And so it's a quality product. And then we do a lot of other Italian standards that are very, very good. My chefs are talented guys. My executive chef, Jason Milross, was the prepared food manager at Westbourne Market for quite a long time. And he's been my head guy at El Camino since day one. So we're excited. We're putting out a good product and we're happy about it.
And what's great too is you mentioned the story with Ellen's preparing your dough with your recipe every day for your pizzas. Is that partnership that you're developing too within the restaurant community, within the local food community on Orchard Lake Road, in Sylvan Lake, and in the greater West Bloomfield community. So that's a really good added element to the story with Guma moving in. On the other side, Live Bait is a seafood restaurant. Tell us about some of the favorites that people can get at that restaurant.
Well, I was shocked, Tyler, that in the lakes area that there really wasn't a place that was seafood focused. Again, right in my direct area in Sylvan Lake and Kego Harbor, so many great restaurants and businesses, and they all will have a feature that's dynamite, but there was nobody really focused on that. And I grew up a lot of my childhood on the East Coast during summers and winter breaks and everything, and in Florida with my mother's family. My brother spent quite a bit of time in Boston. Shout out to my little nephew who was Austin from Boston. He was born at Tufts. And so we loved oysters and shellfish and fresh fish and anything you could imagine in that East Coast oyster bar, side of the road feel. So that's what I did with Live Bait. We've got oysters on the half shell, obviously, and oysters Rockefeller. We do seafood towers that are really cool. Fresh fish every day. We'll run specials throughout the year seasonally. It's and again, the rooms are totally different. It's and I've gotten some really cool artifacts that I've sourced all over Metro Detroit. The bar stools at the Live Bait side are the old jury stools from the 36th District Court in Detroit. The giant lights that hang over the bar actually were the spotlights on the Jail Hudson's building. So it's eclectic and it's neat. And again, it's two totally different spaces under one roof. And we're having a lot of fun with it.
We're joined on the show today by Brad Cousins, the owner of Live Bait and Guma, which you can find right next door to each other on Orchard Lake Road, 2440 Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake. The old Peppino's location is now two different restaurants. You can get your favorite pizza and Italian food, and right next door, some of your favorite seafood features as well at the restaurant. Brad, you mentioned earlier on about the success of the Peppino's site, and you actually had previously worked at Pepino's back when it was a pool hall. So this is kind of a full circle moment for you too in your career, but also as you're building a new experience in that location where so many people had frequented for food and for for gathering for so many years. Does that add a little bit extra motivation to you to not only, of course, make this a success, but make it a great experience for this next generation too?
Oh, it adds a whole lot of motivation. It's one of my best friends and I used to cut grass in the area when we were kids at St. Mary's in the summers, and we decided one summer that we hated cutting grass. And he said he knew a guy who was opening up a pool hall there, and let's go get jobs. So I fibbed about my age because I think I was 17 at the time and said I was 18. And my buddy Shane and I went over there and we got jobs in this location. I mean, I was 17, now I'm 52. And that's where it started. The guy that owned that pool hall, which the lodge has now moved down the street in Keego Harbor, is Mitch Black, who owns Dick O'Dow's in Birmingham. And oddly, we all live in Sylvan Lake. Mitch Black still lives in Sylvan Lake all these years later. My buddy Shane lives down the road from me in Sylvan Lake. And my brother lives in Sylvan Lake. His family does. My 4 best friends that I've known since I was 7, 8 years old, we all live about 10 houses away from one another. And so their parents live there. I mean, everybody lives there. So I've got a lot of skin in the game. And, I'm trying to do it for my neighbors and for my friends and for myself, selfishly, to have a place for us to go. And I want to be there for the long haul.
Brad Cousins joins us on today's edition of The Splash Live. The owner of Live Bait and Guma, also as the owner of El Camino in Keego Harbor, helping to build a restaurant community in the greater West Bloomfield area. And now you are, as you said, a big proponent of the community and being involved in your hometown here in the greater West Bloomfield area. You also, what's interesting, you also serve as an instructor at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So there's that familiarity kind of across the board in the community also with Brad. And that's what's really interesting about this coming in. These 2 restaurants coming into our community is that it's built within the community. It's embracing that history, but also bringing a new sort of restaurant feel into the community that in some ways has been there before, but also is bringing something interesting also to it. You mentioned some of the features in these restaurants that have historical ties to the local area, to the Detroit area, to local courthouses. How much of a factor did ambiance play and experience play into putting together Live Bait and Guma, these 2 restaurants in that location?
Well, ambiance for me is a lot of it. I think that these days that it is a full package. The consumer is as educated as they've ever been. And I think if you don't have food, service, and ambiance, you're missing the mark. So, and I really enjoy the conceptual design, and I hand build all of these places myself. I enjoy sourcing them and going a little bit off the cuff. All of it. I enjoy designing and building anything. You were saying the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, I actually had taken, and that's what I like to do as well, is I like to repurpose things. Spaces that people have forgotten, things that people don't necessarily think are valuable anymore. I own the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school down the street, and I actually had just moved it with one of my best friends into an abandoned quarter car wash that had been vacant for 10 years. And we repurposed that and rebuilt that and turned it into this beautiful, beautiful jiu-jitsu studio. And again, it's right next door to El Camino. So it's all about creating that community and that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what all the other business owners on that strip are really trying to do. I've known a lot of these people my whole life, certainly at least my entire adult life. And it's exciting to be a part of it. There's some neat stuff happening. And we're going to create something cool in this community.
Brad, before we let you go, What do you hope when people go into Live Bait in Gaumont? Of course, they're going to have great food. They're going to experience a beautiful location on Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake, and the experience is going to be fantastic. But on the other side, as they're exiting your restaurant, what do you hope people take away from that experience in your two new restaurants?
Well, when you walk through the main door of Gaumont and you're in the vestibule and you walk through the little breaker door, it says on the door, "Make yourself at home." And that's what I want it to be like. I want people to walk out of there filled bellies, filled hearts, filled souls. I want people to feel like they can come in there and they want to come in there. That's where they want to celebrate their birthdays and their events. I had a place in Chicago for almost 20 years, a small neighborhood place. I had a few places in Chicago, but my favorite was one that I had that was a small neighborhood bar. And my proudest achievement there, not only the fact that I was in business for almost 20 years in Chicago in one location, but it was the fact that I had wedding rehearsals and dinners from people that had had their first dates in that location. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, that I and the people that I work with can have that much of an impact, a positive impact on people's lives. I don't even know how to explain it. I just think that is the coolest thing we can do.
Brad, if people want to experience these two new restaurants, Live Bait for seafood, Gaumont for pizza, and some Italian favorites, what are your hours? When are you open so they can experience this?
We're open 4 to 10 p.m., 7 days a week, both of them. So
4 to 10 p.m. All right, 4 to 10 p.m., 7 days a week, 2440 Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake, the old Pepinos and Lodge location in Sylvan Lake. Brad, appreciate you joining us and telling us about this really interesting story and these two great new restaurants that you've moved in to help, again, build this restaurant community and help your hometown as well.
Tyler, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Glad to have you on. Brad Cousins with us, the owner of Live Bait and Gaumont, and you've also seen him around town at El Camino and at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, a great community guy continuing to help build our local area and doing it from the center of our community, arguably, on Orchard Lake Road. We'll take a break on The Splash Live. On the other side, plenty more of your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets. The Splash Live continues next.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Follow us on Twitter at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Watch West Bloomfield Lakers football all season long. Civic Center TV. Join Tyler Kieft and Matt Catoni each week for live, in-depth, and exclusive coverage before, during, and after the big game. It's your local high school football team on the road and in your backyard on your home for West Bloomfield Laker football, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. This is Dayan Chaaban alongside Tyler Kieft. So the West Bloomfield Public Township Library's Lego Club. So they are kids at the Lego Club at the West Bloomfield Public Township Library had the chance to put their amazing and creative work on display at the main branch, and it will continue to be displayed throughout the month. You can check out their characters and all these wonderful displays. They have different animals, they have different characters from different movies, and amazing, brilliant, and creative stuff displayed. You can check them out at the main branch at the West Bloomfield Public Township Library. So many other programs as well that you can, for your kids at the West Bloomfield Public Township Library. You can check it out at wblib.org. Tyler, so many programs that these wonderful library offers, and a lot of them entice these young kids to do some creative work, whether it's in arts or math or educational stuff.
Yeah, a lot of work goes into these projects. It's not easy building these Lego figures, and it's a work of art, but also a big work of skill too, to devise these different workings that they have up throughout the library, to build those structures and ultimately put them into place and leave them there carefully also after the fact so that they can stand up and be put on display. Some really great work being done, and it also is even more impressive that this is being done by kids in our local area, building these different projects, these trucks and these different animals. And we saw the birds and the dinosaurs, the owl. Those were all built with Legos and with other similar sort of toys. And so really makes for an impressive work of art, and great to see them on display at our local library. Again, it's at the main branch in the Town Hall complex off of Walnut Lake Road in West Bloomfield. The Road Commission for Oakland County is already gearing up for the winter season, and they're looking for some extra laborers and drivers to help them come the snowy seasons of the year. They're seeking part-time laborers and drivers for the winter snow and ice season to help augment full-time staff during their plowing and de-icing season. Per a post by the Road Commission for Oakland County on their Facebook page, quote, to be considered for one of the part-time laborer or driver positions, anyone interested must have a current Michigan commercial driver's license with an A endorsement, CDL A. The part-time drivers may be scheduled to work 3 days per week and will be on call throughout the winter for additional day, night, and weekend work as is needed. Every attempt is made to establish a consistent work schedule, and end quote. However, you can expect with a job like this, with the necessity of these extra laborers and extra drivers during the winter season, that consistency of schedule is really going to depend on Mother Nature. That being the case, on your screen on CivicCenterTV.com, you're seeing their flyer that they posted on their social media. It includes a QR code. If you scan that QR code or go to rcocweb.org, you can get more information on these and other job openings in their careers tab. You can also call them for questions at 248-645-2000, 248-645-2000. And Dayan, these are some big-time unsung heroes in our community, going out and about, even when there's light snow outside or light icy conditions outside and it's not a major storm. The best days we have driving during the winter are the days we don't even notice the work that's been done by the Road Commission for Oakland County and by our local cities to clear our roads, but they're really important on those days where we really need them after big storms to clear our roads for safety and for people to get about their communities each and every day.
Tyler, without these wonderful individuals, honestly, or these jobs, we will not even be able to go out to our jobs and to go out and do our daily errands. So it's a great job opportunity for whoever is dedicated and wants to do it. The Road Commission of Oakland County has a great environment. We did interview a lot of people from the Road Commission. So if you are dedicated, if you are that individual that can be on call, as we know, Michigan weather is kind of unreliable, especially during winter. If you can and if you want to, this is a great job opportunity for whoever is willing.
Yeah, and again, you can apply on rcocweb.org. You can call them at 248-645-2000 for more information. And Calvin, we can briefly put that flyer back up on our screens on CivicCenterTV.com so you can see the QR code, pause our video, scan that QR code, and either send that information to people you know that may be looking for some additional work this winter season, or if you yourself are interested, you can get information and apply for those open jobs with the Road Commission for Oakland County. Plenty more of your stories from your hometown on your community media all throughout the week on The Splash Live. Stick with us. Our program will continue very soon.